Welcome everybody to Tranquility Gaming Season 9. This is going to be the EU Harmony tier. The first time you lot are seeing it because we didn't have the preseason for it. So it should be an absolute banger of a game here between Celsius522 and Hope Guardians. I am Toasty and I'll be joined by Puppe to bring you the coverage.
Hello, good evening, how are we doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hyped to get into the game here. Obviously, like I said, this is the first we're seeing of these teams. Should be an absolute blast. Obviously, last season we had a banger of a grand finals. And if EU Harmony tier this season is going to be anything like that, should be pretty fun. So yeah, I mean, Puppe, it's your first time in sort of the Trank community as a whole, right? I mean, how are you feeling?
Yeah. I mean, you called me up at a relatively last minute, so unfortunately I didn't have a great deal of experience with the Trank community, but looking forward to getting some time done with yourself today. We've casted before, I know, with Valorant, so it should be quite interesting to see us we're doing some maybe watch. But these guys coming in here look like relatively, if the skill rating is anything to go by, it looks a very, very close matchup, and I think a lot of people are predicting a 3-2 from the sounds of it. So I'm ready to get into some hyped gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we'll be kicking things off on Nepal, I believe, so should be fun, hopefully. Like we say, it is going to be a close contest between these two teams. They are 50 SR apart, and quite literally in terms of their team average. I do think if there are any players that, you know, I think we're sort of looking out for, it is sort of the high plat players in this lobby. With this being sort of the 2,000 to 3,000 SR division, you're expecting to have a mix of golds, plats, that sort of thing. And I think a player I really want to look out for here, or on each side, is Beta, who is 2857, the highest on their team on the DPS role, and Rocco Nico for Celsius522, who is the highest on their team on that tank role. So, should make for some fun dynamics, having the highest player on each side being on sort of different roles than each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely having these sort of different roles and different higher SRs is going to make a bit of a difference. Personally, I always favour the tanks. Being a tank player myself, I always think that they're going to get the edge, and I just generally feel like tanks have an ability to be able to affect the game a little bit more than DPS can. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe it's a little bit biased. I don't know, but what do you think? How do you feel that that dynamic sort of works?
I mean, honestly, sort of the tank dynamic. I mean, listen, Overwatch 2's coming. People are gonna have to start solo tanking. I mean, the sort of tank off tank dynamic is well, it's gonna be gone in Overwatch 2. So this is, I think, probably one of the last times you'll see sort of a league format tournament actually, be able to showcase this tank off tank synergy, as well as potentially a main tank diff, because it'll no longer be a main tank diff. It'll just be a tank diff.
Of course, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to see. We've already seen obviously some sort of early insight into exactly what it's going to look like with the Overwatch League and such, but I imagine that the game's going to look a whole lot different when we actually get to play the game ourselves. But we are into map 1. It is going to be Nepal. We are into this first one, which I believe is Sanctum. And it should be a really interesting matchup, as both teams opting for a Rhine Diva. The TP obviously coming out for the Symmetra. Speed boost for both teams as well, and a Baptiste. So relatively even matchup, very, very close in terms of their picks. And straight to this first fight we go.
Yeah, and something I really want to mention here, Celsius 522, they've got Thoriumea, who is a caster here at Trank and is extremely good at shot calling, as I have heard. Obviously, they lose the first fight, so not quite going their way quite yet, as it was, I believe, just a great charge coming in from Naro to kick things off, and they clean up after it. Naro almost has that Shatter online already. In fact, does have it online. That is incredible.
Yeah, what a fantastic first showing, and what a great way to kick this one off. They did opt to stay on the Symmetras, both teams, so you expect to see over the course of these fights a lot of charge sort of coming in from both teams if they let these fights draw out. So it'd be very, very interesting even matchup. But this May can get some freezes off. We might see the fight's going a little bit in the way of Celsius here.
Yeah, potentially, right. Obviously, you get that May advantage where if Naro does get segmented off, it could be dangerous. Doesn't really land too much of a shadow there. Pins in anyway, goes aggressive. And Dark going down here. Celsius going to stabilize a little bit, see if they can re-engage off the back of this Ant Matrix. Hope Guardian seeing how long they can stall this out for. They have an Ant Matrix of their own, which they do end up popping. Could be a fair bit of healing actually being put into Naro because of that Blondie using that healing to its greatest extent. They are backed off the point though, so Celsius 522 gradually gaining that space. Here comes the Photon Barrier, and the B in response from Thoriumea. They're looking to go aggressive into it, but that counter pin comes through. Sweets has a Shatter online if they do want to pop it. Shatter, oh, it gets cancelled up there. They fall right in the midst of it. Still, trade out on the Reinhardts here. Maelt is invested, and I think that should be able to clean things up here.
Yeah, that was a very long, drawn-out fight there, and Hope Guardian did a fantastic job just kiting them around point, as we do see the remainder of the team of Guardians be picked up by this mate, slowly freezing down poor Norak. But yeah, it's just a very, very clean fight from the Hope Guardians to stall that one out, take out a lot of big ultimates as well. They had to invest the Blizzard into that one very late in the fight as well from Kip, but it was needed to get them over the line and get that sort of team fight win. So yeah, not much coming into this next one in terms of the macro game, as we do see a bump already used.
We won't talk about it. We won't talk about it. Okay. And that was the highest player in the lobby, by the way. So pretty fun, but we'll see. Naro coming in here, looking for potential Earth Shatter. Oh my goodness! Catches all 6 with it. That is elite. And they should be able to clean up off the back of it, bomb into the back, just to try and get a piece of the fame there. But Bezo, I'm sorry, Naro takes the fame there.
Yeah, they'd have had that bomb there from Rock and Ego to cover off that Shatter. Maybe it would have been a little bit different. They would have been able to push as quickly as they did, but nonetheless, still a fantastic Shatter from Naro to... And a very minimal amount of ultimates used as well. With a few more coming online, you got to think if they're not going to get it here, then they're in a very, very good position over this next course of these fights to push this one over the line.
Photon Barrier here from Widow Lovers. They're looking to re-engage, but they can't even touch. Oh no, that is tragic. And Sweets tried to pin as well. Tried to get onto that point, but just half second too late.
Just very, very well played from the side of Hope Guardians, recognizing